On behalf of County Executive Ed Mangano, welcome to Eisenhower Park. Beautiful Harry Chapin Lakeside Theater. Tonight we present Just Wild About Harry, a tribute to Harry Chapin. Joining me is Legislator Dave Denenberg. Dave,
Thank you. Thanks.
You never stop working.
At this time, would all our veterans please rise and be recognized? Would everyone please rise now and have a moment of silence for our troops around the world. Please remain standing for our national anthem sung by Stuart Markus.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Just a reminder for the next few shows we got coming up in Nassau County. Tomorrow night at our Grant Park Patio Show series, we have Larry Chance and the Earls. Great show if you've ever seen it. Our Chelsea Mansion concert series concludes this Wednesday with the Long Island Conservatory of Music, and the Nassau Pops will be on this stage on the 25th of July. Saturday, July 26th, Fresh in the Park will present Christina Perry and Tegan and Sarah. It is now my pleasure to introduce your Master of Ceremonies for this evening, man who put this all together, Stuart Markus.
Well, we've got a lot of people to thank tonight. First of all, thank you all so much for coming. This looks like the largest crowd yet. This is the 10th anniversary that we've been doing it here at Eisenhower Park, on the stage that bears Harry's name. As you all know, Harry was supposed to play on this very stage the night that he passed away, and it means a lot for all of us to be able to play his music here. I'd like to give a big thank you and shout out to the folks at B103 Connoisseur Media, Long Island. You might have heard them announcing the show this morning, and this afternoon they did it quite a bit, and it is Jim O'Brien here from the station. He was up here before. Well, come on up. Why don't you say a little bit about Harry Chapin's musical legacy?
Thank you. I'm over 20, so I know playing Harry's music for a long, long time, and the Taxi's still my favorite one. I know that was a big hit for him, but he's done so much. He has done so much for music in the years that he was with us. And the band that plays them tonight is going to amaze you. I heard them earlier. And the big thing to do with the Harry Chapin tribute is to think about not just the music, not just the great voice that he was, but the words that he said in his music. And that's why everybody here knows them, and that's why you guys are here tonight. Am I wrong about that? All right. And there's a special band here tonight going to do a song called The Rock we want you to listen to, too. So thank you guys for coming. I know you all had your own reasons for loving Harry Chapin, so enjoy.
Of course, Harry wasn't just about music. He was one of those celebrities that really took seriously the fact that his celebrity gave him a bully pulpit to try to fix things that were wrong in the world. And he founded 2 charities in the year before he died. One that was originally called World Hunger Year. It's been shortened now to Why Hunger, because that was the question he was always asking, why? And the other is a local food bank called Long Island Cares. And this concert is a benefit for that organization. If some of you, hopefully a lot of you, brought some non-perishable food, it goes to feed hungry families right here on Long Island. And I'd like to introduce the director of Long Island Cares, Mr. Paule Pachter.
Thank you very much, Stu. And thank you, everyone, for being here this evening. I want to thank Nassau County Legislator Dave Denenberg, who is a tremendous supporter of Long Island Cares. As Stu mentioned, it was 33 years ago that the world lost a tremendous humanitarian, a champion of social justice, and one of the most vocal voices in our nation to end what he believed was the shame of America, and that was the issue of hunger. 33 years after Harry's passing, we're still fighting the fight to end hunger on Long Island. More than 280,000 of our neighbors still don't know when their next meal is coming from. Over 110,000 children wake up and go to bed each morning in Nassau and Suffolk County wanting to know where their next nutritious meal is coming from. I think Harry would have been both proud and upset that the organization that he founded 34 years ago and only lived 1 year to see develop was still in existence. He honestly believed that in his lifetime he could end hunger. Unfortunately, he didn't know it, nor did we as a society, that the lifetime would only include 38 years. But here we are 34 years later, Long Island's regional food bank, serving over 250,000 people a year, distributing 8 million pounds of food, supporting the hungry, supporting the homeless, supporting our veterans in need, supporting children, supporting the elderly, and supporting anyone who needs help, because that's what Harry would have wanted us to do. With this, thank you. We are extremely proud of what we have been able to accomplish at Long Island Cares with your support and with your help. Not only the work out of our main facility in Hauppauge, but the work out of our community program in Freeport and our newest community program in the village of Lindenhurst. We continue to grow. We continue to do exactly what Harry asked us to do, and that's not pay that much attention to the issue of hunger, because we can always help people who are hungry with a can, a box of food, $1 here, a donation there. What Harry wanted us to do was look at the root causes of hunger. And why do people go to a food bank and a local pantry in one of the richest areas in New York State? We know the reasons. We address them every day. I would love to tell you that we're winning the fight against hunger, but we're not, because each day new people show up on our doorsteps, whether because they lost a job, whether because they're underemployed, whether because they're ill and they can't work anymore, or whether because they just arrived here for a better way of life. Harry would want us to serve everyone in need, and that's what we continue to do with your help. Tonight we remember Harry not only through the work of Long Island Cares and Why Hunger and the other organizations that he founded, but by the thing that everybody remembers him for the most, and that is his music. We are extremely grateful to Stu Markus and all of the artists here tonight for the 10th year in a row remembering Harry for his music. Enjoy the songs, enjoy the stories, sing along with the words, and thank you so much. Have a great evening.
Well, both Jim and Paul emphasize the value of Harry's words. You know, if you turn on a pop music station today, you'll hear a lot of words that are obviously just thrown together for an easy rhyme, or listen to a song that sounds like it was manufactured in a factory rather than crafted by a craftsperson. So it means a lot to me to put this song up first, because Harry was a balladeer in the truest sense of the word. A ballad is a song that tells a story. And Harry told stories and wrote about people, real or imagined, or sometimes starting with reality and working up to something that was just a story but everyone could relate to. So we're going to start out with a Long Island supergroup, as it were. All three of the women in this group perform on their own. Martha Trachtenberg is one of the best-known songwriters on the folk scene. She performs solo with her husband Tom Griffith and with another group called Return to the Dream. Judith Wyman grew up on the Long Island folk scene. She was an instructor at the Guitar Workshop and one of the lights of both the Flushing and Greenwich Village folk scenes of the 70s and 80s. And Hilary Fox song, I'm proud to say, is my bandmate in my trio Gathering Tom, who you'll see later. Please welcome to sing a song called Remember When the Music, the Folk Goddesses.
Well, good evening.
And because we have to get this off right, I'm sharing bubbles with you.
They always think I'm that tall.
Grow, Judith, grow.
Jump. Jump. Are we ready?
Yes, I think we are.
We are. Oh, one thing. This is a folk song, and this is a folk music concert, which means you are obligated to sing with us at the end of the song. I'm just telling you now.
Because you are the folks.
You are the folks.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and we're folks too.
Remember when the music came from wooden boxes strung with silver wire, and as we sang the words, it would set our minds on fire, for we believed in things, and so we'd sing. Remember when the music brought us all together to stand inside the rain, and as we join our hands, we'd meet in the refrain. We had dreams to live, we had hopes to give. Remember when the music was the best, what we dreamed of for our children's time. And as we sang, we worked, for time was just a line. It was a gift we saved, a gift the future gave. Oh, all the times I've listened, and all the times I've heard, all the melodies I'm missing, and all the magic words, and all those potent voices, and the choices we had then. How I'd love to find we had that kind of choice again. Remember when the music was a glow on the horizon of every newborn day. And as we sang, the sun came up to chase the dark away, and life was good. We knew we could. Remember when the music brought the night across the valley as the day went down, and as we sung the melody, we'd be safe inside the sound, and so we'd sleep. We had dreams to keep, and I feel that something's coming, and it's not just in the wind, and it's more than just tomorrow, and it's more than where we've been. Then it offers me a promise, and it's telling me begin, and I'm nowhere needing something worth believing in. Remember when the music came from wooden boxes strung with silver wire? As we sang the words, it would set our minds on fire. We believed in things, and so we sing, and so we sing.
Folk goddesses, Martha Trachtenberg, Judith Wyman, and Hilary Fox song. Next up, a woman who's been part of the show on and off for quite a number of years now. She's been part of the local scene. You'll often find her performing with Frank Walker, who she's performing with tonight. And you're going to be seeing a lot of Frank tonight also. Frank is probably one of the best beloved guys on the local acoustic scene. And this is a song that really tells a compelling story, so I'm glad they're going to do it. And I'm not going to introduce them for long because it's a long song. Please welcome singing A Better Place to Be, Rob and Eve with Frank Walker.
It was an early morning ballroom, and the place just opened up. The little man came in so fast and started at his cup. And the broad who served the whiskey, she was a big old friendly girl who tried to fight her empty nights by smiling at the world. And she said, "Hey bub, it's been a while since you've been around. Where the hell you been hiding, and why you look so down?" But the little man just sat there like he'd never heard a sound. The waitress, she gave out a cough, and acting not the least put off, she spoke once again. She said, "I don't want to bother you, consider it's understood. I know I'm not no beauty queen, but I sure can listen good." And the little man put his drink in his hand and he raised it to his lips. He took a couple of sips and he told the waitress this story. "I am the midnight watchman down at Miller's Tool and Die, and I watch the metal rusting, and I watch the time go by. A week ago at the diner, I stopped to get a bite, and this here lovely lady, she sat 2 seats from my right. And Lord, 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 she was alright. She was so damn beautiful, she could warm a winter's frost. But she was long past lonely and well nigh unto lost. Now I'm not much of a mover or a pick-em-up easy guy, but I decided to take a light on over and give her one good try. 'Cause Lord, 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 she was worth a try. Tongue-tied like a schoolboy, I stammered out some words, but it did not seem to matter much, 'cause I don't think she heard. She just looked clear on through me to a space back in my head and shamed me into silence as quietly she said, "If you want me to come with you, then that's alright with me, 'cause I know I'm going nowhere, and anywhere's a better place to be." I drove her to my boarding house and I took her up to my room. And I went to turn on the only light to brighten up the gloom. But she said, "Please leave the light off. Oh, I don't mind the dark." And as her clothes all tumbled round her, I could feel my heart. The moonlight shone upon her as she lay back in my bed. It was the kind of scene I only had imagined in my head. I just could not believe it, to think that she was real. And as I tried to tell her, she said, "Shh, I know just how you feel. If you want to come here with me, well, that's alright with me. 'Cause I've been oh so lonely, loving someone is a better way to be." The morning came so swiftly while I held her in my arms, and she slept like a baby, snug and safe from harm. I did not want to share her with the world or break the mood, so before she woke I went out and got us both some food. I came back with my paper bag to find that she was gone. She'd left a 6-word letter saying it's time that I moved on. So the waitress took a bar rag and she wiped it across her eyes. And as she spoke, her voice came out as something like a sigh. She said, "I wish that I were beautiful, or that you were halfway blind. And I wish I weren't so goddamn fat, and I wish that you were mine. And I wish that you'd come with me when I leave for home. 'Cause we both know all about emptiness and living all alone." Said, "I guess I'm out of gin, and I know we both have been so long." come with you, well, that's alright with me. 'Cause I know I'm going nowhere, and anywhere's a better place to be. Thank you. Frank Walker.
Robin Eve with Frank Walker. Frank, by the way, probably has the broadest, deepest depth of knowledge of Harry Chapin's catalog of anybody in this show. And he's been an extraordinary help to me in so many ways when I need an MP3 of a song to learn, or a recommendation, or somebody to be a utility bass player, drummer, or guitar player. Frank's got a charity show coming up of his own that I'll mention a little bit later, and of course he'll be doing a song of his own too. Next up, somebody I've been wanting to get into the show for quite a while. She's an expatriate Long Islander. She grew up in Great Neck. She was also a student and an instructor at the Guitar Workshop in Roslyn, if anybody remembers that place. I met her back in 1995 at a convention for people who are working the college circuit. I was trying to work on it. She was actually doing it. And she's been a friend and a mentor to me. She's lived in the city for the past bunch of years. But she tours. She's played as far away as Japan, Denmark, the Caribbean. She specializes in songs about women, traditional folk songs, and released a season, actually, a CD rather, of holiday music just last year with Cecilia Kirtland, who's someone you might know, who's been in the show many times in the past. Most recent CD under her own name is called Acousticness, and she's also on a compilation called Voices of Women. And accompanying her is someone you'll see a little bit later on. She's part of a band called Friends on the Journey, but Lora Kendal on violin, or is it a fiddle? There's a subtle difference. Please welcome my friend Robin Greenstein.
How are you all doing out there? All right, good. This is Lora Kendal on violin. We're doing a song called Story of a Life. It really should be sung by a man, but they said, Robin, sing it. I said, okay, here we go. It's a golden sunrise, a young boy, open up your eyes. It's supposed to be your day. Now off you go, horizon bound, and you won't stop until you found your own kind of way. And the wind will whip your tasseled hair, the sun, the rain, the sweet despair, brave tales of love and strife. Somewhere on your path to glory, you will write your story of a life. And all the towns that you walk through, and all the people that you talk to, sing you their songs. And there are times you change your stride, and there are times you can't decide. Still you go on. Tunes and share the secrets of the moon. So soon you find a wife, and though she sees your dreams go poorly, still she joins your story of a life. So you settle down and the children come. You find a place where you come from. Your wandering is done. And all your dreams of open spaces you see in your children's faces, one by one. And all the trips you know you've missed, all the lips you've never kissed, cut through you like a stretched out before thee, just another story of a life. So what do you do now when she looks at you now? You know the same old jokes the jesters tell, you tell them to her now. And all the same old songs the minstrels sing, you sing them to her now. But it don't matter anyhow, 'cause she knows by now. So every chance you take don't mean a thing. The variations that you bring to this shop-worn melody. And every year goes by like a tolling bell. It's battered merchandise you sell. Not well she can see. And though she's heard it all 1,000 times, couched in your attempted rhymes, she'll march to your drum and fife. But the question that goes on before me, what's my magic story of a life? Sometimes words can serve me well, sometimes words can go to hell for all that they do. And for every dream that took me high, there's been a dream that passed me by. I know it's so true. See it clear out to the end, and I'll whisper to her now and again, because she shared my life. For more of glory, she makes up the story. Oh, she's the only story of my
Robin Greenstein and Lora Kendal. Now, one of the mark of the caliber of musicianship that we have back here is how quickly they can pick music up and get it together. Just so happens that Robin lives in Manhattan, Lora lives out in Patchogue, if I'm not mistaken, and because of the distance, Holbrook, sorry, they got together to rehearse for the first time about 45 minutes ago in the green room. Now, the next band up, well, it's sort of funny. They're called Grand Folk Railroad. And, of course, there was a band from the 70s called Grand Funk Railroad. And a couple of years ago, they were playing in the show here, and Newsday was giving us a little bit of coverage, and some hyperactive autocorrect system in Newsday's typesetting computers corrected Grand Folk to Grand Funk, and in sub-headline, Grand Funk Railroad to appear in Harry Chapin tribute. And if it weren't for the rain predicted, it would have been a record show, I'm sure, that year. Anyways, Mike Christian, Susan Levine, and company. I had the pleasure of sitting in for Mike on bass during their sound check. They're doing a really pretty song called Saturday Morning. And by the way, Susan was saying, how can you have two banjos up back to back? And I said, well, why not? Please welcome Grand Folk Railroad.
Story is starting, and this story ends it taps at my shoulder and claws at my hand, and I feel like I need you again. The song needs a reason and rhyme.
Grand Folk Railroad. Thanks, guys. Next up, a guy that was introduced to me just last year by the president of the Folk Music Society of Huntington, Mike Kornfeld. They're here handing out literature. They are sort of the cultural partner that helped us promote this. This guy's name is Sid Cherry. He's a singer-songwriter who lives in Deer Park, and great piano player. Mike, like I said, introduced me to him, and just go out. Don't wait for me to finish introducing you. And he just told me today that he performs with this woman named Helene Schreier Pandala. Did I say it right? Close enough. Together as the Dream Chasers. So you can look for them online. Sid Cherry doing a song called She Sings Songs Without Words.
So it says in the program that I am doing a song called Old College Avenue, which is actually a song I did last year, and it's not only one of my favorite Harry Chapin songs, but one of my favorite songs of all time. But I was planning on doing that again this year. I was listening to a bunch of Harry Chapin stuff, and this one song kept coming up, and every time it played, a little voice would say, sing this song, and it would play again, and it would say, sing this song. And finally, at one point it said, hey, idiot, sing this song. So when the little voice in your head calls you an idiot, you listen to it. So I listened to it, and I decided
or your
to do
singing
this.
partner. Sometimes that happens to you.
Right, yeah. So I switched to this song, She Sings Songs Without Words. Cobblestone tossed at her feet. My fool's mouth was filled with the dust from the street. An out-of-work court jester with nowhere to go and no need to speak, for she seemed to know. She sings her songs without words, songs that sailors and blind men and beggars have heard. She knows more of love than the poets can say, and her eyes offer something that won't go away. This mad mocking town and its dishonored guest disappeared in the colors that dance on her dress. She led me to safety in a forest of green and showed my stale eyes some sights never seen. She sings her songs without words, songs that sailors and blind men and beggars have heard. She knows more of love than the poets can say, and her eyes offer something that won't go away. She spends magic and moonlight in her meadows and streams, and seeks deep inside me and touches my dreams. The morning comes smiling and I laugh with no sound and snuggle in silence to the sweet peace I found. She sings her songs without words, songs that sailors and blind men and beggars have heard. She knows more of love than the poets can say, and her eyes offer something that won't go away. No, they won't go away. Go away. Thank you.
Thank you.
Helene, my buddy.
Check. One of the other nice things about organizing this show is that I get to work with some great musicians too and back them up in ways I don't usually get to, I should say. You know, when you're a performing musician, a working musician, you don't get to hear too many other musicians often because you're working the same night, so you don't get to go to the shows you might like to otherwise. I know my bandmate Hillary was all psyched to go see Queen at the Nassau Coliseum and then discovered we had a gig. So I got to play with Marci Geller here. Marci lives in Stony Brook. She just came out with a new album. What's it called? Faith? Faith something.
Faith?
Faith, what's the
What
name
are
of
you
your
talking about?
Your new album.
Oh, that's a secret. We don't know what the name is yet.
Don't know it.
We're working on it.
Okay.
We're going to let the fans decide, like we did with the last one.
She tours nationally and internationally, and it's great to have her back in the show. You know, we lost Pete Seeger just this past January, and Pete was very much an inspiration to Harry.
Yeah. Who was at Seeger Fest or watched the stream yesterday? Anybody out there? Yeah, a couple of you.
So, accompanied by Josh Chapin and Melanie Fink, I'm very glad that Marci agreed to do the song that Harry wrote about Pete Seeger called Old Folkie.
Yes, and I hope you'll all sing along. Hello, everybody. He was the man with the banjo and the 12-string guitar, singing the song to tell us who we are. When you looked in his eyes, you know that he was really in there. You knew where we were going, where we've been, and the fight was getting thicker, now the future should begin. When you looked at his life, you know that he'd really been there. So what is the name that they're calling that man? What is the name that they're calling that man? You know he's always a old folkie. They say he's always bleeding, but whenever somebody needed him, Pete's the one who cared. He was always the old folkie. Whenever something's burning, or a lesson needed learning, or a tide needed turning, for a better world somewhere, you know the old folk is there. Yeah, for 70 years he'd been pushing on, carrying the dream, 'cause Woody's long gone. He's the last voice singing the Dalby Forest song. He's the man with the meaning in the music book, and if you've never seen him, you might give a look. Yeah, the world's gone tired, but people going strong. So what is the name that we're calling that man? What is the name that we're calling that man? You know
Marci Geller.
Thank you so much.
Next up, we got somebody who lives right next to me in West Hempstead, but I didn't know her until just about a year ago. Maybe 2 years now. Time flies. Yes, she was a mother of just one back then. Now she's a mother of two. Just a few months ago. A singer-songwriter who for a while was running a series at a yoga place right in Malvern, where I live. And singing a song of hope and idealism that, well, Judith Wyman kind of had put her trademark on for a long time here, but Judith graciously allowed the folk goddesses to do a different song so we could free this one up, and I'd like to welcome up Katie Pearlman. Wondrous Stories is next.
I'm so happy to be here tonight. Well, I wonder, yes, I wonder what would happen to this world. Well, I wonder what would happen to this world. Now if a man tried to take his time on earth and prove before he died what one man's life could be worth, well, I wonder what would happen to this world. And if a woman, she used her lifeline, something more than some men serving mother lifetime, well, I wonder what would happen to this world. Well, I wonder, yes, I wonder what would happen to this world. Well, I wonder what would happen to this world. As I look around me, there's strange things. There's muggers and there's jugglers. We all live by clowns. Been into river fast, would we change things? Or are we just people right and ready for the ground? And if our future lies on the final line, are we brave enough to see the signals and the signs? Well, I wonder what would happen to this world. We see the people, we see them marching down. Do we join the parade or do we try and turn around? Well, I wonder what would happen to this world. Well, I wonder, yes, I wonder what would happen to this world. Well, I wonder what would happen to this world. Disciple children walk the streets, selling books and flowers, and then they be the last ones with the semblance of a dream. If we say that no one's out there, we say we're going nowhere, can we avoid the question, is this all that it means? Now if a man tried to take his time on earth and prove before he died what one man's life could be worth, well, I wonder what would happen to this world. Well, I wonder, yes, I wonder what would happen to this world. Well, I wonder what would happen to this world. Yes, I wonder what would happen to this
Chapin, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, if you ever want to get your fix of Harry Chapin music, you can tune in harrychapinradio.com. It's run by a guy who's off the stage here named Mike Grayeb. He was a member of the board of directors of World Hunger Year, now Why Hunger, and always was a big fan of Harry Chapin and helped us promote this show as well on it. So look up harrychapinradio.com on the web. And I'd like to say particular thanks to the sound crew tonight, led by Ted Bial. This is probably the musically the most complex show that they do. Most shows they do, they have one band and they kind of set it and maybe ride the faders. This one has 18 different acts, so I'd like to thank them very much. Next up, probably Long Island's most popular cover band. They've been known to sit down and play through the Dark Side of the Moon album at a setting. Named after a song by Yes, they're one of the few bands that can actually tackle a side of a Yes album in its entirety, or Sgt. Pepper's, whatever strikes them. And I'm so glad, I've known Ken for what, like, I don't want to say how many years, probably 15 years. You were 38, I was 35. Yeah, that gives away how old we are now. Just musicians, the type of band that professional musicians go to hear at a bar just for the chance to get up and play with them on a song or two. Always a pleasure to have them. By the way, in my band gathering time, we have a saying that music is not a spectator sport, folk music especially, and of course, you're going to be able to sing along on this one because it's probably Harry Chapin's greatest hit. As his brother Tom likes to call it, a song that scared the pants off of fathers around the world. And they couldn't get here from other gigs in time to do a sound check, so we're working the bugs out right now, but as soon as they get it all straightened out, please welcome Wondrous Stories.
Check. I break everything. Hey. So everybody who knows about Harry Chapin knows that he was a really great guy. He was a regular guy, very unassuming, like your next door neighbor, you know. And so I figured he used to blend in when he was in a crowd. So I figured I'd be like him and wear a very unassuming shirt, and so I can blend in easily, so I don't stand out. Anyway, I like to have fun. Don't worry about me. Ready? He came to the world in the usual way, but there were planes to catch and bills to pay. He learned to walk while I was away, and he was talking before I knew it. And as he grew, he'd say, I want to be like you, Dad. You know I want to be like you. You can sing along if you like. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man in the moon. When you're coming home, Dad, I don't know when, but we'll get together then. You know we'll have a good time then. Well, my son turned 10 just the other day. Said, thanks for the ball, Dad, come on, let's play. Can you teach me to throw? I said, not today, I got a lot to do. He said, that's okay. Then he turned around and his smile never dimmed. He said, I want to be like him, yeah. You know I want to be like him. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, the little boy blue and the man in the moon. Oh, when you're coming home, said I don't know when, but we'll get together then. You know we'll have a good time then. like a man, I just had to say, son, I'm proud of you, can you sit for a while? And then he turned and he said with a smile, what I'd really like, Dad, is to borrow the car keys. Please see you later, can I have some cheese? And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, the little boy blue and the man in the moon. When you're coming home, I said, I don't know when we'll get together then, son. You know we'll have a good time then. Since retired, my son's moved away. Called him up just the other day. Said, I'd like to see you if you don't mind. He said, I'd love to, Dad, if I could find the time. You see, my new job's a hassle and the kids got the flu, but it's sure nice talking to you. It's been sure nice talking to you. And as I hung up the phone, it occurred to me, the boy was just like me. He'd grown up just like me. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, the little boy blue and the man in the moon. When you're coming home, I said, I don't know when, but we'll get together then. You know we'll have a good time then. So much. Thank you.
Kenny Forgione, Wondrous Stories. Thanks so much, guys. You might have noticed Frank Walker is sitting in on bass. Did I tell you he's the utility outfielder of the whole show? Next up, a band I always like to close out the first set. Folk rock sort of came of age in the 1960s. The Byrds were the first folk rock band, and then we had Simon and Garfunkel and Crosby, Stills and Nash. Well, this next band kind of takes it to its logical conclusion by blending the traditions of folk with the traditions of really hard rock. Sort of if you took Woody Guthrie and put the Ramones in together with a blender. And always fun. These guys also, by the way, always bring the back line. The bass amp, the electric guitar amp, and the drum set is theirs, and they allow everybody else to use it, and that's awful generous of them. When you got expensive toys, it's hard to remember to share, but they're very good about it. And they've worked out a new arrangement of this song. They've kind of made it theirs. And it's always a pleasure to hear them play. The newly wedded Eddie Havoc leading the band. Chris, Vicky, and Neil, their new bass player, on a new arrangement of The Rock. Then we're going to take a very short intermission and come back here with another set of music.
This better be good. My mom's in the audience. The Rock is gonna follow us. He won't wear the star. Ran off to his mother, the fear dog in his heart, and he told her of the vision that he was sure he'd seen. She said, go to sleep, son, you're having a bad dream. And she said, everybody knows the rock hangs over the town. Everybody knows that it won't tumble to the ground. Remember, Chicken Little said the sky's falling down. Well, nothing ever came out that the world still turns around. Rock is full of foreigners, heroes and total class. The professor put his truck down, stand out to his glass. He said that you've seen it up there, high up on the hill. If it doesn't fall this year, then very soon it will. That man said, everybody knows the rock and roll of the town. Everybody knows that it won't tumble to the ground. soon, but it's still not too late. You see, I've done all the research. My plans are all complete. We were showing them contingency for the show and do this. And they said, everybody knows the rock ain't all over town. Everybody knows that it won't tumble to the ground. Everybody knows of those who say they made this year. But don't you know that that goes on as usual around here? All right, let's do it. Giving up and listing help, there was no one else. Spent his days devising ways to stop the rock himself. Went up on the mountain beside the giant stone. They knew he was insane, so they left him all alone. One night he was up there, building props up on the ledge. The ground began to rumble, the rock tumbled off the edge. Disappeared, the rock came to a stop. The people ran into the street, about it all was still. The rock seemed where it always was and where it always will be. When people asked where he had gone, they said, he was deaf. Forget about that crazy fool. It started into life. If you look a little closer, the rock slips a little bit. Thank you all very much. We're Media Crime. Stick around, and the whole great show still coming up. Bye-bye now.
Media Crime. In case you're wondering, that thing is called a theremin. We're going to take a very short intermission right now. Avail yourselves of the snack bar and come back here in 5, 6, or 7 minutes or so, and we got a whole bunch more songs for you.